Loving someone you can't have is like carrying an invisible wound. You wake up, go through your day, smile at people, but inside, there's an emptiness nobody really understands. This pain is silent, but it runs deep because it's not just about the person who's gone. It's about the part of you that felt more alive when they were near. This is the paradox of impossible love. Something so intense, yet untouchable. It's not just drama, it's not exaggeration. It's a human mystery Carl Jung described with striking clarity. Experiences that don't show up to punish you, but to reveal something hidden inside you. And today, I'm going to show you why this happens, and how this pain can actually become a portal to transformation. Maybe you're living this right now, or maybe you've lived it before. You feel the ache of something that never really happened, frustration because you can't make sense of it, and a helplessness that just won't quit. The worst thought is, did this only happen to hurt me? That emptiness weighs heavy, because it feels like it stole a part of you that won't ever come back. And I get it. Sometimes you've tried to move on, started new relationships, but they all felt flat, lukewarm, as if that one encounter ripped something open, making it clear that living halfway just doesn't cut it anymore. And deep down, this pain isn't only about now. It echoes old rejections, abandonments, and that buried belief that maybe you don't deserve real love. But let me tell you something. None of this was in vain. This experience didn't come to destroy you. It came to awaken a part of you that had been asleep. What feels like a wound today can turn into a scar, and that scar can become wisdom. In this video, you're going to discover how to transform suffering into vitality, how to reconnect with that version of yourself you thought was gone, and above all, how to finally make peace with your own story. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, why do I always fall for the one person I can't have? That question keeps echoing inside a lot of people's hearts, and maybe you're living through it right now. It feels unfair. Seriously, how can someone stir up so much inside you and still be completely out of reach? Cruel, I know. But let me tell you something most people won't. That pain isn't just yours, it's universal. Just by feeling this, you've already stepped into a journey most folks don't even dare to face. And that's where the paradox kicks in. You meet someone who feels tailor-made for you, almost like your soul just recognized another soul. Your heart races, the coincidences pile up, and you think, this can't be random. But then reality hits. The distance, the wrong timing, the lack of reciprocity, maybe even another relationship. It's like life opens the door to happiness only to slam it shut again, leaving you with nothing but the taste of what could have been. Here's the hidden truth, though. Jung believed experiences like this don't just happen by chance. They're not accidents, not bad luck, and definitely not punishment. It's like the unconscious uses that person to show you something about yourself you wouldn't see otherwise. The soulmate you can't actually be with isn't a curse. It's a mirror, a reflection that exposes your desires, fears, and even old wounds that were tucked away. What really hurts isn't the person's absence. It's what they awaken inside you. You might think, it's just me going through this. But look around. How many times have you heard someone say, I met the right person at the wrong time? It happens in movies, books, and real life because it's an archetype that keeps repeating in the human psyche. No wonder so many love stories are built on this paradox. That pain speaks a language we all understand. And the moment you recognize yourself in it, you realize you're not wandering this maze alone. I've seen people stay stuck in this memory for years, haunted by the famous what if. But here's the kicker. That pain you think is chaining you down might also be the key. Instead of asking, why can't I live this out? The real breakthrough comes when you ask, what is this experience trying to teach me about myself? That's when frustration flips into revelation, and what once felt like a curse turns into a chance to grow. And maybe that's the reason life puts someone like this on your path. Not to torture you, but to wake you up. Impossible love can be a reminder that something bigger is waiting to be uncovered. Something way beyond whether or not you hold someone in your arms. The real question is, Are you willing to look past the pain and see the hidden treasure it carries? Loving someone you can't have hurts more than ending a real relationship. That's the truth hardly anyone admits out loud, but you know it in your bones. Because when a relationship ends, there's closure, a period at the end of the sentence, no matter how painful it is. But with impossible love, there's no conclusion, no goodbye, just an emptiness that lingers in your chest. And it's inside that emptiness the haunting questions echo. Why do I love someone who doesn't love me back? Why does it hurt so much if they were never really mine? Maybe you felt it with someone you met in a fleeting, intense moment. Someone who vanished from your life like they never existed. Or with that old friend where there was always something more. But it never crossed the line. These stories may look small, but they cut deep because they leave something unfinished. It's like a song that stops right before the chorus. You never hear the best part, but you can't get the melody out of your head. Here's the hidden truth most people miss. What hurts isn't just the absence of the person. It's what they awaken inside you. It's like your heart suddenly remembered something it had been missing all along. It's not punishment. It's not bad luck. It's life holding up a mirror. That person becomes a symbol of something bigger. Your need to be seen, your need to allow yourself to love, or maybe even parts of yourself you've been hiding. That's why the pain feels so intimate and unforgettable. And you'll see the same story repeat in the quietest corners of life. The teenager who falls for someone in another country, knowing they'll never meet again. The woman who reconnects for a few hours with a college friend and feels a lifetime hidden in that glance, only to return home knowing it won't be. The widower who meets someone while traveling, only to realize the distance is stronger than the spark. Silent pains, but scars that last a lifetime. But here's the powerful twist. Once you realize it's not about having this person, but about what they woke up inside you, the pain changes color. Your heart stops asking, why didn't it work out? And starts wondering, what is this trying to teach me? That small shift opens the door for you to reconnect with the forgotten parts of yourself. And suddenly, impossible love stops being a prison and starts becoming a portal. And if you've ever felt this, you know exactly what I mean. So here's my invite. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment telling me what country you're watching from. It's going to be amazing to see how many people, from different corners of the world, share this same experience you thought was only yours. What Jung uncovered is almost counterintuitive. You don't actually love the person you can't have. You love what they awaken in you. Hard to hear, sure, but freeing once it clicks. The heart builds the illusion that this person is the one, the key holder to your happiness. But in truth, they only lit up a part of you that had gone dark. Passion, in this case, works less like a real encounter and more like a mirror. Think about it. When you were around this person, maybe you felt more alive, bolder, more authentic. You believed it was them who made you feel that way. But the truth is, those feelings were already inside you, waiting for the right spark. It's like playing a tune on a silent piano. The notes aren't in the musician. They're in the instrument. The other person just pressed the right keys. The sound was always yours. That's why Jung talked about psychological projection. You don't see the person as they truly are. You see your own dormant parts projected onto them. If they made you feel more sensitive, it's because that sensitivity was already in you. If they awakened courage, it's because that courage was hiding inside you all along. The other simply becomes the canvas where your soul projects what it longs to recognize. Take a simple example. Have you ever heard someone say they feel freer with a certain person? Like suddenly the world has more color, and even small things feel amplified. But that sensation didn't come from them, it came from you. The other just provided the trigger, the spark. It's like striking a match in a dark room. The flame shows up, but the fire was always in the wick, just waiting to be lit. And that's exactly why it hurts so much when they leave. It feels like they walked away carrying your freedom, your courage, your authenticity. But that's a cruel illusion. Nobody can steal what was always yours. What really happened is that you tied their presence to the discovery of those parts of yourself. And when they exit the stage, you think you've lost something. But what you actually lost was the mirror, not the reflection. So here's the big question. If those qualities were always inside you, why did you only manage to see them through someone else? That's the question that opens the next door in this reflection. And it just might change how you see not only impossible love, but yourself. If love isn't simply about possession, then what is true love? Really? That question starts to dig deep once you realize the pain of loving someone you can't have doesn't just fade away. Have you ever wondered why it feels like an open wound, even if you never actually had a relationship with this person? The mind keeps looping the same thought. Why does this shake me so much? And that's when the search gets real. Does true love have to be tied to having someone? If that were the case, how could we explain intense loves that never even got to happen? The truth is, many times you're not longing for the person themselves, but for what they awaken in you, and that messes everything up. Loving is different from controlling, but our minds seem stubbornly wired to confuse the two. And when you see that contradiction, a whole new set of questions shows up. Why is it that we fall for people who don't fit into our practical lives at all? The heart doesn't keep spreadsheets, it doesn't calculate distance, it doesn't weigh convenience. It just races, sometimes for someone living in another country, sometimes for someone already taken, sometimes for someone whose life will never intertwine with yours. And that's what creates the sting of injustice. If it feels this strong, why can't it be? And what about this wound that just won't heal? Impossible love has the power to leave scars as deep as a great romance lived, or maybe even deeper. It's like the emptiness left behind is bigger than the experience itself. You're not only grieving the absence of the other person, but also the absence of the part of yourself you could only see through them. That's the real root of the pain, and also why it feels so hard to mend. At the same time, though, this pain is an invitation. It nudges you to ask, so, what does it mean to love? Is it about being together? Is it about holding on tight? Or is it about recognizing in someone else something that was already inside you, and learning how to awaken it on your own? These questions don't come with easy answers, but they're the ones that start paving the way to a new understanding. And right here's where the tension rises. If love isn't possession, if the heart insists on falling for the improbable, if the wound feels deeper than it should, then what are we really searching for when we love? That's the key that leads us to the next point, and maybe the answer lies way beyond what you've ever imagined. You might think you'll never get over this love, because there was never a clear ending. And honestly, that hurts even more than a real breakup. When there's closure, there's a goodbye, tears, memories you can tuck away in a drawer. But in your case, everything was left hanging, unfinished. It's like being stuck in a movie that never showed the final scene. That lack of closure doesn't mean you failed. It simply means life wanted to show you something beyond the story of having or not having someone. That emptiness you feel, like you lost a more alive version of yourself, didn't come from the other person's absence. What you lost wasn't them. It was the reflection of what they awakened in you. It's like you've been waiting for someone else to flip the light switch, when really it's been in your hands the whole time. Reconnecting with that vitality doesn't depend on their return. It depends on you learning how to access that flame that's already burning inside. And I know the guilt shows up like a ghost. You catch yourself asking, what did I do wrong? What if I'd said that? What if I'd tried harder? But here's the truth. It wasn't a lack of effort. Impossible love isn't a personal failure. It's an experience that cracks open what's been buried within you. The mistake wasn't yours. It was in believing that everything has to work out if you just push hard enough. Some stories get interrupted because the point was never to live the other person. It was to live yourself. What makes this pain even heavier is feeling like no one else gets it. People around you say, just move on. As if it were that simple, like flipping off a switch. But inside, the wound pulses like it's way too big to ignore. And you know what? It is big. It's not weakness, it's not drama. It's the weight of feeling torn away from a part of yourself. Acknowledging that is already the first step to turning loneliness into a path of healing. Impossible love, as cruel as it feels, doesn't come to punish you. It comes to shatter illusions, to rip off masks, to force you to face old wounds. The person you couldn't have didn't cause your pain. They just revealed scars that were already there. Childhood rejections, fear of not being enough, insecurity about not being loved the right way. And if it hurt so much, it's because it touched those hidden places. And this is where transformation begins. When you realize you didn't lose the other, you gained the chance to heal yourself. This so-called impossible love might be the spark that finally helps you close wounds that have been open for years. Maybe it's your opportunity to learn, once and for all, that you don't need someone else to feel alive, because that vitality has always been inside you. The pain creates space for the real, and little by little it stops being a prison and starts becoming a portal. Healing doesn't mean erasing the story or pretending it never happened. On the contrary, it's about embracing the experience and recognizing that it brought something you needed to see. So often, it's the wound itself that clears the path for growth. Jung said pain calls us to become whole, and that's exactly what you've lived through. This encounter wasn't a mistake of fate. It was an invitation to your own awakening. You're not alone, and you're not too much for having felt so deeply. What you went through is human, valid, and profoundly universal. Thousands of people have carried that same impact, that same emptiness you feel right now. And each of them, just like you, had to learn how to turn that intensity into wisdom. Pain isn't proof of imbalance. It's proof of the depth of your soul. The more you felt, the greater your capacity to reinvent yourself. The path now is integration. If this person made you feel brave, sensitive, creative, or free, don't let those qualities die with their absence. They're yours. The other person just switched on the light bulb, but the energy was always there. Healing begins the moment you choose to bring that energy back into your daily life. Picking up forgotten hobbies, investing in personal projects, opening space to live with the same passion you thought only existed with them. You might believe that vibrant version of yourself only existed because they were beside you, but that's an illusion. What really happened is that you touched a part of yourself that had been hidden. That vitality can be rediscovered every time you choose to connect with your own essence. It's like realizing the flame you thought came from outside was always burning within you. The other person only revealed it. And here's the reconciliation. You don't need to be ashamed of how intensely you felt, nor blame yourself for loving that deeply. Your pain isn't weakness. It's proof you're capable of profound love. To honor the experience is to turn a wound into a scar. It doesn't mean it never hurt. It means the pain has now become wisdom, and you can carry the story with dignity and peace without being chained to it. In the end, that impossible love was the trigger, not the destination. It didn't show up to be possessed. It showed up to be a portal. You gained far more than you lost. You gained the chance to reconnect with who you truly are. And now, the next step is to keep walking with this rediscovered strength, remembering always that the treasure was never in them. It's been in you all along. The truth is, the most important relationship in your life was never with that person. It's always been with yourself. What looked like punishment was actually a gift in disguise. Because even without staying by your side, they reminded you of something essential. The vitality, the courage, and the love you've been searching for were inside you all along. Maybe you'll never live that love the way you imagined. But that doesn't mean it was pointless. On the contrary, it already fulfilled the most transformative role it could have. It awakened in you the memory of who you really are. And that's something no one can ever take away. Now I've got a request. Like and share this video, because it might be exactly the message someone close to you needs to hear. And drop a comment below. Have you ever lived something like this? What did the experience teach you about yourself? I'd love to read your story. And since we're a global community, let me know what country you're watching from. It's going to be amazing to see how far this conversation reaches. And before you go, stick with me. On the end screen, there's another video that goes even deeper into this topic and opens up new answers for you. Don't miss it. It might be the missing piece in your puzzle.